Hey, man, you may not hear this a lot in Philadelphia. Krause has put a smile on my face today. Hey, yeah, I noticed some people in Philly that they may be going, what? Those two guys? Not me, man. Tanner just goes like this. Are we Big Sills guys the last 4 years? I went, yeah, and that's why I start the show out with Big Sills. By the way, to Mrs. Krause and Xander's sisters who watch the program, you can't be Cowboy fans. I get the deal. I get it. By the way, Mark Holmes is going to be on with us at 3:30. We're going to move Xander in the rotation and move him up into the closer's role like a Mariano Rivera at 4:30. Okay? So we'll have him there. Hopefully Philly 500 comes back in it. We appreciate you coming aboard. Please hit the like button. 4th of July week. I can't tell you how much I enjoy that. I've been telling you all week, man, I love the 4th of July. God, country, Big Sills, and the National Football Show. Truth, justice, in the Big Sills way. That's what we do here, man. Hey, and all the rest of the shows, you know what they do? Even the news guys, they take the week off. We don't take any days off because you come here and pick our show. I owe it to you. What do you think? I'm one of the NBA guys that needs load management? You think I'm one of those guys? Big Sills is not a load management guy. I may be a load, but I am not a load management guy. Can you believe it? 2 weeks out from the Jets reporting to training camp. 2 weeks out. That's right, baby. Red, white, and blue. Red, white, and blue forever. You got your load right here, Sills. Hey, senor. You know, look at that, senor. Back in the day, I'd be like, hey, dude, what are you, stupid? Now I'm like, that's funny. We're building relationships up here on this program. You grilling anything tomorrow, Sills? Sam, maybe a nice lobster tail, a steak, some corn on the cob, maybe a rib or two. Yeah, but I'm not grilling because I'm not allowed to touch the grill. It belongs to my wife. I almost lit the house on fire numerous times, so I'm not allowed. Sills, where's Reddick's extension? By the way, I heard the guys talking this morning. Xander and John McMullen have done such a great job. That show in the morning, Birds 365, is completely different than it was 3 months ago. Not that it wasn't listenable then, because it was. And I like what John said a couple days ago when he said he wanted it to be more kind of like the sports reporters that ESPN, when they actually were a network that people used to want to watch. Remember that show that used to come on? I used to think it used to come on Sundays. That was a great show. I liked the sports reporters. You hear these guys giving these great opinions. Mike Lupica and all, who used to go on that show all the time. Philly guys used to go on that thing too. That was a great show. I miss shows like that. And again, those guys were journalists. I'm not a journalist. You guys know that. Okay, so that's but there's been a little bit of back and forth, and there's a lot more youth on that program. Americans are too fat. It's all right. Nothing wrong with a little extra weight. That's what makes the Eagles good in that O-line, isn't it? Hey, Cordo, I'd rather be an O-lineman right now. One thing the Eagles do great, build O-lines. That's right, Flex, and ESPN should have kept that show. Darren Sills is not a man. He can't grill. Prince. I'm just not allowed around fire. Like, I'm not supposed to light candles and shit, too. I get it, Prince. I want to be a griller, but I'm just not very good at it, man. I'm not. Speaking of Reddick, wow, did you see this coming out? Or what? Now he knows what was up. Getting nothing in return. Sills probably can't even cook on a Foreman grill. I actually have a Foreman grill. Hey, Sills, how's Howard Eskin doing now? Look, man, my problem with that story is not really so much Howard Eskin. It's the company Eskin works for, Odyssey. Okay. I guess when your last name is Eskin, it's royalty. And if you're being accused of sexual harassment, which, by the way, I've been accused of everything on the planet, short of murder. I've never been accused of that. You know why? And I had Joy Taylor working for me. I have never been accused of that when it comes to my job, when it comes to people I work with. Never. Not happening. One thing I'll say about it, hey, I want to hear more of the facts, but for the company to do the investigation themselves and still keep him on the air and the Eagles not fire him for inappropriate conduct or at least put him on suspension is all you need to know about that ESP guy. See, Odyssey picks and chooses. They were supposed to give me that Boston morning show. I have such an ass with them. I don't really care about Howard Eskin. He's like a pawn in this thing. It's that company. They will pick and choose. You know why? He's an old CBS guy. They protect the CBS guys. They're going to take him off the air. That's fireable. Shit, people have been fired for less. Okay? Been fired for less. I know people who have been fired for less. He's still going to be on the air this week. So they're going to utilize the ratings, the conversation, and the Eagles will do nothing because he's a good mouthpiece. Dang. Hey, I'm jealous. I'm really jealous. And by the way, I'm not going to waste a lot of time on it because Odyssey's a dying company anyway. 7 years ago, that company, when I first started working for it, 5 years ago, I would say, not 7, the stock was trading at $60. You know what it's trading at now? 10 cents. 10 cents. It's about the finest outhouse wallpaper right now that you can find. It's like 10 cents. They've driven that thing into the ground. 10 cents. Like $70 5 years ago. That's a true story. Not that iHeart's doing any better. Radio's, hey, unfortunately, see, Joe Kraus and I, we cut our teeth in radio, and we'd ever want to see the platform go away. I know I don't. I love radio. I do. I will always love radio. I despise the people in it today. Jeff Sotolano, that guy in Philadelphia who runs all of the stations, is the biggest piece of shit I know. Okay? He is totally a piece of shit. I can't stand that guy. And I wish nothing but horrible things for that guy in his job. Not personally. I don't care. But professionally, I do. He is one of the worst human beings I've ever known. Mark Chernoff and him and I used to have screaming matches about if I was going to behave on the air at WIP or FAN or EEI. I said I won't answer that. You should have heard those conversations. Hey, look, we want to give you a contract for WIP, Andy Bloom, right after Angelo. Will you behave? I'm not answering that. Wanted to give me the morning show after Kirk and Callahan. They offered it to me. I have a 3-year deal. I could post it anytime you want. And will you be? No. I'm doing a show or I'm not. Screaming matches with those two. Screaming matches. Oh, like losing your voice. Who are you to talk to me like that? You can't program a transistor radio. So what you guys are getting here is the best of. This is how I used to do my show when I was in Tampa. Okay, I'm just better today. That show had 12, 13, 14 shares in the morning. And I didn't give a shit about anybody. I didn't care. But I cared about my audience. Okay? Let's have some fun out of the gate here before we get into the topics. So, a friend of mine in Atlantic City gave me some over-unders on the Eagles. Dude, we're like 3 weeks out from the start of training camp for the Philadelphia Eagles, right? Right? Like 3 weeks out. So let me get, where's my pen? Here it is. Because I like Sills because I can tell how much the Eagles suck. We used to do the WIP pregame live from the vet parking lot. The F-bombs almost got Angelo kicked off the air. Hey, Mark, that must have been great. How many people used to go to the old Wing Bowl when that thing was kicking ass at the Forum? Or, excuse me, at the Spectrum? How many people used to go to that thing? I've been to a couple of them. How many people? Tony Bruno invited me at the Spectrum when you guys, they held it in the Spectrum one year that you guys had that Wing Bowl, that WIP Wing Bowl. How many people went to that thing? God, the people that would show up. That thing was so awesome. Holy cow. That thing was great. It had to be one of the greatest events. Okay, probably Jason Kelsey's on the Shore event now. Kind of rivals that thing. You probably got the idea from that thing, man, because that Wing Bowl was out of hand. Hollywood said the Civic Center was better. Was it? I went to the Spectrum. Danny DeVito was there. I believe it was the first or second year that we had it at the Spectrum. Cordo goes, Big Sills, I went there. Dude, that thing was over the top great. That Wing Bowl, man. The Civic Center was classic. God. Hey, dude, how great is that? Sills, was that the Wachovia Center? No, man. They had the first 2 years of the Wing Bowl, they had it at the Spectrum. Dude, the fans that used to come in that used to listen to WIP in Philadelphia, man, people in WFAN would come down also from New York. You understand that the first sports talk radio station in America with the platform on what we see traditionally was in Philly. Sports talk radio, the birth of sports talk radio is Philadelphia. It's not New York. New York claims it. It's not true. Philadelphia invented sports talk. Okay? They invented it. It was the first station that had the platform across the board 24/7. But you know what they did better than FAN did? They put all the local guys on. They went to the Inquirer and started hiring guys like Angelo. They got Tony Bruno. They got Morgani. They got people like that. That's when the old quarterback who owned the station before CBS got their filthy hands on it. They put all the Philadelphia local guys on it. They didn't put national guys. Nobody in Philadelphia wants to hear a big mouth national guy. Nobody gives a shit about those guys because they don't like you. They don't understand a market like that. Love Al Morgani too, man. B. Costello goes, New York invented pissing and shitting in the street. Whew. Ain't that the truth? You walk down there on Times Square, man, it smells like a urinal. Used to be a cool place to go. Not so sure. I was never in the Civic or the Spectrum. Didn't watch area sports do a lot of the time. The shitty vet, though. Hey, Mike, that Wing Bowl at the Spectrum, and you roll into the Spectrum. I love the Spectrum. I know that you guys love what you have now at Wells Fargo, but there's something about the vet and the Spectrum that made Philadelphia sports an iconic place to go watch. They weren't great buildings. So it was kind of, I looked at it kind of like the place I played, the Orange Bowl. Dude, it was not a great place, but it was a legendary place. Hey, Flexen goes, the vet was horrible. Yeah, but the vet was legendary, wasn't it? Right? Spectrum's legendary. Legendary. Right? Flyers. Your only true dynasty. Right? Hey, man, it may not have been a great place, but it was your place. Now, all these companies like Jeffrey Lurie and all these other places, Josh Harris, they own these buildings. Doesn't have the same fan environment kind of thing to it. It's more corporate, right? It's more corporate. That's the one thing that these new buildings don't get. They've moved fans further from the field. Those places like the Vet, the Spectrum, you were right on top of everybody. You go to any of these new buildings, they move you further away from the floor, the ice, the diamond. It's not the same. Right? Caught a giant halibut yesterday. God, I love that fish. God, I love that fish, man. Stills, was it a shithole? The Orange Bowl? We have to ask my aunt that. I just love playing there, man. 8 Super Bowls, all the national championship games, legendary Dolphin teams. I played, John F. Kennedy spoke there. I mean, I saw a Prince concert there when I was down there. I saw Madonna. I met all these people down there because I played in the Orange Bowl. One of the most iconic stadiums of all time, playing in the Orange Bowl. There was nothing like it. And the reason we loved it so much, it's one of the reasons why the 58-game win streak was down there. 58 games at home. Let me put it to you this way. Between the Dolphins and the Hurricanes, in my 3 years down there, between us, we lost 7 games. We lost 1. They lost 6 in 3 years. Nobody lost there at the Orange Bowl. It was a fun environment, man. Saturday Canes, Sunday Dolphins. It's just a crazy environment. Okay? That was trash. We couldn't win back then. The link was better. We actually started winning championships. No. Championship. I wouldn't say championships. Championship. Okay? I didn't say that the link's not a better place. I said the Vet was more fan-friendly. That's what I said it was. Sills rocks the red Corvette. I did have a little red Corvette. Not a fine gift from Norman Brayman. Thank you, Norman Brayman, who was at the time the owner of the Philadelphia Eagles. Gifted Big Sills a Corvette for $1 a month. I love posting that picture of that thing, too. I get the car, it had a mile on it. Too bad it didn't have power windows. It was one of those cars that they put in the window. It was like a showpiece car. Come in and buy it, like an 87 Vet or something like that. It's really great. Rims were great, everything. Had a sunroof on it. But it didn't have power windows, and I didn't have any kind of cassette in it. He goes, well, what'd you expect? You think you're going to get a fully loaded Vet for free? And I said, well, I had a pretty good year. Hey, Big Sills invented nil. Hey, Big Sills invented nil. I didn't need nil. I had it. I didn't. The Vet turf was awful. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Hey, Charlie, when they start talking about paying the student athletes, I went, wow, I wonder how much they're making. I lived in an apartment down on Brickell Avenue. I had a Corvette, never worried about anything. Shit, I yearned for those days. Didn't have to pay any bills. I don't even know how my bills were paid. Had 30 grand in my pocket. Jesus, criminy. What an absolutely awesome environment. All right, so I got these Vegas over-unders on your Eagles. So play along with me. It's not just about Hurts, or it's about everybody. Hurts, Over under 22 touchdown passes. I'm going to take over. I think he gets more than 22 touchdown passes this year. Charlie goes under. Under, Charlie? Fly says over. My seats at the vet were 700 level. Hey, Slagger, you must have been a Hellraiser then. Look at Flexen, under. Holy cow. Under 22 touchdown passes for Jalen Hurts? Over, no doubt, says Twiz. Over 30, says David. Probably just over. All right, let's go next one. Saquon Barkley, rushing yards, over under 1,265 yards. Saquon Barkley, according to Atlantic City, over under 1,265 yards rushing. Boy, that's right on the number, man. I'm going to take under because I don't think he's healthy for the full 17. Easily under. That's under. I think Hurts is over 22 passing touchdowns. Okay. Under. Under for rushing. 1,500, which he's never done. He may have his rookie year. Had a pretty good season. I think he's going to run his butt off. 18. Hey, Steve, you might as well just put $2,000. He's going to get more carries than Miles did when he got 1,200. Yes, sir, baby. I say this guy gets 900 yards rushing. All right, here's the next one. More snaps at right guard. Tyler Steen or the field? Who has more snaps for the Eagles at right guard? Tyler Steen or the field? David says the field. The rookie, Trevor Keegan. I know, Charlie, these things are close. I got the field too. I got the field. They'll make Becton the right guard and Steen the swing tackle. Sills, I'm taking Micaiah Becton. Okay? Next one. Oh, this is going to be a great one. Nolan Smith, over under 3.5 sacks. I got under. Over. Sills way under. Nolan All-Pro, baby. That's a low bar. Well, he hasn't done shit. Over? He better be over. Oh, wait till we get to my expectations on defense. Oh, yeah. Under 3, and I got under 2. Nolan Smith out for the season, week 2, says Taylor. 4.5. He better get more than 3.5. Flexing, I'm with you. Okay. Nolan won't have 3.5 tackles all season. He better get 6. We'll talk about that in a minute. Oh, my God. Here's the next one. Nakobe Dean will lead the Eagles defense in tackles. How many games? Over under or 2. Wait, over under 2 games. Nakobe Dean leads the team in tackles. Over under is 2 when it comes to games. Over. I got way under, man. Over. The guy's blown out loud. Hey, by the way, I got to tell you something. This is the first time when I'm going to use the word John McMullen and preposterous. He thinks that Nakobe Dean has more upside than Devin White. When I heard him say that, I was like, the one thing Devin White has shown, Devin White at least can play. He's shown at least he can play. I mean, I say under. This guy never leads the Eagles in his entire career in Philadelphia. He'll never lead the Eagles in any game in tackles. Okay. Who has more sacks this year? Bryce Huff or Hassan? Woo! Jackie Chan. Reddick. How many? Who has more sacks this year? Oh, I got Reddick. Hassan. Reddick, Sills. Reddick won't even play all season. You better hope he does. That second round is contingent on him playing 65%, 10 sacks. Or guess what? You don't get a third rounder for 3 more years. How you doing? Woo! Only Hassan Reddick and Myles Garrett are the only players in the last 4 years in the National Football League that have double-digit sacks. Do you know that? Only Hassan Reddick and Myles Garrett are the only ones. Woo! Here's the last one. How many playoff wins do the Eagles have this year? Over under 1. So, B. Costello, you're taking the over. Twiz, you're taking the over. Over, easy. Under. I don't think we make it this year. Under. Yeah. I got under. Hey, by the way, they don't really think too much of Jalen Hurts this year. They think this guy was like a 1-year dude, like I told you he was years ago. National people, NFL pundits, they're not thinking anything of your boy. Wait a minute. Wait, I have something here. Here, before we get into the topics, DraftKings came out with their favorites for the 2024 NFL Most Valuable Player. Obviously, Mahomes is number 1 at plus 450. Number 2, Josh Allen and CJ Stroud at plus 850 is second. CJ Stroud, he just got in the league. Number 3, Joe Burrow, plus 900. Number 4, Get this. Lamar Jackson, Brock Purdy, Jordan Love at plus 1,400. Number 5, Aaron Rodgers at plus 1,700. Number 7, Christian McCaffrey at 1,800. And pulling up the rear from the Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts at plus $2,000. It's DraftKings. How you doing? Damn, Brock Purdy, CJ Stroud, and Jordan Love have better odds to win the most valuable player award. Sam, that actually is a decent bet to take. I'd take that 2,000 plus 2,000 on Hurts. That's a better bet than taking the Mahomes deal. Get more money on your return. You damn right. All right. Where's that list? Here we go. Flexen goes, F that MVP. Yeah, okay. Please hit the like button, guys. Here we go. So I'm going to set some benchmarks here for your players. I'm not going to do it on offense. It's too easy. Let's do it on defense. Okay? Let's do it on defense. Milton Williams, left end. What are your expectations? Here's how I'm looking at it. Plus 50 tackles and 8 sacks is what I'm expecting out of him. What would you say? Okay. +50 tackles, 8 sacks. Twiz, wow. Says fair. Cordo says over. You think he does more? 60-10? I got big faith in Milton. I actually like Milton too. I'm cool with that, Sills. Tell you what, guys, he's on a contract year. You better hope he don't get that. Because if he does, Howie Roseman is going to have to sign that guy to a $25 million deal. So if he gets 60 tackles and 10 sacks, he ain't coming back to Philly for some cheap-ass deal. This guy's going to come back for a big-time contract because he's young. I mean, you guys remember Michael Bennett? Michael Bennett was a guy that he started in New Orleans first, then he went to Tampa, and he kind of floated around the league a little bit. I don't even think Michael Bennett was drafted. Then he gets up to Seattle, and he starts taking off, and he becomes one of the preeminent pass rushers. And they had to start paying his ass. Now, they could afford it because why? Russell Wilson was the third-round guy, and they didn't have to pay him. So if Milton Williams goes plus 60 and like 10 sacks, that guy's going to command anywhere in the $20 million range. That's going to be a breakout season, man. That would be hey, knowing the way Howie and the Eagles do business, I'm no longer going to say they can't keep him. But that's going to be a lot to ask. Maybe they move off Sweat. Okay, because he is young and he's healthier. Right? Yeah, hey, Flexen. One thing now we now see, the Eagles are not afraid to put the money bag up front. So that's what a great position Milton Williams is in. I'm looking forward to watching him play. I think he's a really good football player. As a matter of fact, I think he's got more upside than Jordan Davis because he's shown more. He's more durable. He's more reliable. He's more flexible. And he's more versatile. I mean, he can play nose, DT, and end. I mean, I don't know. You could put a premium on that. So how he better do his job? Hey, flexing. He has. He knows what he's doing when it comes to these contract negotiations and structuring these deals. He's pretty good at it. Nose tackle. Jordan Davis. What are your expectations on Jordan Davis this year? Remember, he's the 13th pick. He's the 13th pick in the draft. So there's built-in expectations. Nothing? Well, that's not good. They're already in talks to extend Milton Williams. Oh, okay. How could you be in contract talks with Milton Williams when Milton Williams is going into a contract year? Why in the world would you want to be in a contract conversation before you even started a season? I wouldn't negotiate with the Eagles right now unless the contract was in the $20 million range. Why would I do that? They're trying to get him before he goes out there and proves that he can play and get 60 tackles and 10 sacks, because then it'll cost you $25 million annually. Right now, they're probably trying to come in there and get him at 12 or 13. Now, if you want to start negotiating with me and I'm at 6 or 7 sacks by midseason, or I got 5 sacks by midseason, it's still going to cost you 15 to 20 million. 2 sacks and 50 tackles, Mike says. Prince is right. That's what the Eagles do. Here's my expectations for Jordan Davis. I got 39 plus tackles and 3 sacks. He does that. I think he had a good season. For a nose. I mean, somebody tell me if you want to make a comparison, take a look at the numbers that the New York Giants nose tackle had last year. And then let's kind of compare and put the contrast in there, because that's what you're hoping Jordan Davis turns into. You're hoping that he turns into, I got 40-2. Okay, Jack, we're kind of on the same page. Take a look at what that nose tackle, Dexter Lawrence, did in New York last year, because he was the all-pro nose. And there's your benchmark on the best noses in the league. And whatever that is, you can make your assessment on what you think 39-3. I got plus 39 and 3 sacks for Jordan Davis. Okay? JD will be our anchor on defense and will open up our line and backers to eat. Wasn't the case last year. It was that shit system that Patricia had. So we shall see. It's going to be a heavy demand on how often teams have to double team Carter. Bob says, Sills, Davis as a nose, the numbers will be low. But that's okay. I expect that. They were with Wolfark. If he shuts down the run in the middle of the field, holds up the line successfully, that's exactly what the job I'm looking at this year. All you guys have to do is take a look at Dexter Lawrence's numbers. You look at what he did a year ago, and you'll know what the best is and the high bar when it comes to playing nose guard in the league. Fangio uses interior stunts to open up pressure from the DTs. He does a lot of twist. You know, I heard those guys talking about bringing pressure with Devin White. Well, he brought pressure last year with his stunts in the front 7. They didn't do a lot of blitzing last year, but they broke the Miami Dolphins sack record. So obviously they know how to get people in space. Okay? Yeah, Vita Vea is another guy. Vita Vea, Dexter Lawrence, people like that. Yeah, absolutely. Right defensive end, Jalen Carter. What are your expectations for Jalen Carter? What are your expectations on Jalen Carter? $55 tackles and 9 sacks. Big Seals, do you see Fangio's scheme or Moore's offensive scheme starting out slow? The offense will start out slow. Communication will be the issue on the other side for the defense. I need Jalen Carter to eat this year. Here's where I'm at with Carter. I got Jalen Carter at 60-plus tackles, 9-plus sacks. And I got him as a Pro Bowler, floating around that All-Pro. I think he's All-Pro potential. Of all the players on your defensive front four, he's All-Pro candidate. He has a chance this year to be one of the best interior defensive linemen in pro football. His conditioning is the only thing, in my opinion, that will stop him from being an All-Pro. Isn't that suck? You don't have to be an athlete to be in shape. You have to have desire to want to be in shape. Boy, what a conversation that could be. You tell somebody this, you're in shape, you're an All-Pro. I don't know how that's not the number one priority on your brain cell. Every single day that you wake up, you take your head off your pillow. You mean to tell me all I have to do, and the simplest thing is being in shape? Yeah, because I believe that. I saw him earlier in the year, the way he moved around with his feet and his hands, the way he threw offensive guards around, how dominant he was, how powerful he looked, how much speed he had. My opinion, that guy is going to be an absolute monster this year. I think this guy is going to be an All-Pro defensive tackle this year. He's just got to want it. My question is his brain too young? Is he still immature? Conditioning and maturity, in my opinion, are going to dictate how far he goes this year. And I've been high on him ever since we drafted him. I told you he was the next Jerome Brown. Okay? I think the kid's great. I think the kid is the best talented defensive lineman that you've drafted since Fletcher. And to go back even further, I think he's better than Corey Simon. I think he has more upside than Thomas. And he goes back to the Jerome days. He's one of those kind of guys. Josh Sweat, edge. I've done more than just the starters here. What's your expectations for Josh Sweat this year? What's your expectations for Josh Sweat? $10 sacks? Flexen says not much. Well, you better hope he has a lot. Because if Josh Sweat doesn't contribute to that front four, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. If Sweat is a non-factor, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. Okay? You don't believe in Sweat. This is what I got for Josh Sweat. 50-plus tackles, 7+ sacks. I think he's capable. I think he's a good football player. I don't know why you're down on him. Then again, I don't know why you moved off of Reddick. So what? He's an asshole. So what? He wanted more money. Deal with it. You moved off the player because you didn't like the way he negotiated, or because he may have been a jackass not wanting to drop in coverage. Work with it. You did with Hugh Douglas. Work with it. Coach him. It's not about you, Howie. It's about coaching personalities that sometimes you may not get along with. Nobody really liked Charles Haley, but they dealt with Charles Haley. The good coaches did, and they got the most out of him. That's why he's got 5 rings. Should have kept Reddick. You're damn right you should have kept Reddick. By the way, these are my expectations. These aren't what I think they're going to do. Okay? Next guy. Bryce Huff. What are your expectations for Bryce Huff? Bryce Huff. Your expectations for him. Six sacks. $11 sacks. 7.5, 12. Okay, let's take a look at this. Most tackles he's ever had in a season is 29. That was this past season. 10 sacks. 19 solo. Years before that, 6, 14, and 16 total tackles in a season. Here's my expectations. 30+ tackles and 11 sacks plus. Or you signed a lemon at $18 million. Reddick had a cast on his hand the first 4 games. Patricia, and Xander said it, he evaporated last year at the end of the season. So did everyone else. And they were dropping him in coverage. And somewhere in the middle between what the side did for him, he had 11 sacks. In a bad year. That's Bryce Huff's greatest year he's had as a NFL guy in 4 years or 5 years in the league. You're telling me that Hassan Reddick had a bad year last year and still had 11 sacks and 60 tackles? That's okay. Well, he's never accomplished that. Eagle X goes, Huff is not a bum. That's naive. Well, then why didn't the Jets start him? Why did he come off the bench? Why did they let him walk out the building if he was so instrumental? Eagle X, they didn't trade him. If he was so instrumental to the Jets and a defensive-minded guy in Robert Saleh, why didn't they want him? And more importantly, why didn't they start him? If he was so good. Why? On a team that didn't win a lot of games. They didn't want to pay Huff 17. So you have what you're saying is a preeminent pass rusher in the NFL. And you are saying the Jets didn't want to pay Huff 17, but they're going to pay Reddick 15 this year. So you mean to tell me $2 million is what meant Huff to walk out of the building in New York? They're theoretically paying Hassan Reddick the same money Huff. What are you talking about? The Jets didn't want him, and they're paying him the same money as Huff. Do you not see that? Slager goes, it's not that simple. Well, help me out some more here. How it's not that simple. Reddick had a horrible year last year, according to Eagle fans, with 11 sacks and 60 tackles. This guy had his greatest year with 29 tackles, 10 sacks coming off the bench. Eagles are paying him $17 million. Jets are paying Reddick $15 million. What's the difference? Why they let this superstar walk off the lot? Why did they trade him? What? Hey, you mean to tell at least the Eagles traded Hassan and potentially are going to get a deal back in 3 years for the guy, either a second or third rounder? What? Why in the world did the Jets let him walk out the building? Jets haven't re-signed Huff. They don't have to. They traded for him. He's under contract with the Jets now. They're not under any obligation to sign that guy now. They can wait to the end of the year. Huff is a great pass rusher based off what? One fucking year? That's not a great pass rusher. That's a great season. Not even great in today's NFL. It's a good season. Why did the Jets let him walk off the lot without a trade? Without any compensation? Nothing. Like I said, at least the Eagles traded Reddick. Eagle guy goes, Reddick is not getting a multi-year deal from the Jets. They don't have to deal with it. I'll tell you what he will do. If Hassan Reddick rolls into this year and gets 14 sacks this season, they will give him a multi-year contract. No one values Reddick. That's why Jets are paying him the same money they're going to pay Huff and Philly. They basically swapped the player. And the Jets got the better pass rusher. Or at least the more established pass rusher. If you guys want to go this route here, by the way, once again, he's the more established pass rusher. Guy goes, it's not a swap. You're damn right it's not a swap. Your guy's not proven. Bryce Huff is not a proven commodity. This guy's his best year was this last year, 29 tackles on a team that was behind the entire year. And they were mop-up numbers. I heard John say he's led the NFL in success rate getting to the quarterback. When's the last time the Jets had a winning season where you're not constantly behind? Dude, this guy's not a starter. Let's move on. Right inside linebacker, Devin White. What are your expectations for Devin White? Expectations this year for Devin White are what? By the way, Mark Holmes, we're going to go Eagle. We're going to play that game with Mark Holmes. Roster position with Mark Holmes. Hopefully Philly 500. joins us as well. Okay? We're going to look at quarterback versus quarterback, right guard versus right guard. And we're going to look at roster for roster. We're not looking at who wins more games. We're going to look at who has the better roster from a Cowboy perspective. What's Devin White? What do you here? Here's my expectations. 100+ tackles and 4 sacks. Hey, man, you eventually got to replace TJ Edwards or Kaiser White one day, don't you? Don't you? Kaiser White had 117 tackles his last year in Philly. And the other guy had 159. Surely you're expecting 100 tackles out of Devin White, aren't you? I am. Left inside linebacker, Nakobe Dean or someone else. I got 90 tackles, 2 sacks. If the guy's a third rounder. John McMullen says he has more upside than Nakobe or Devin White. And he's, according to John, he's going to get the opportunity to start. Holy shit. What a train wreck. Dude, I already know the boat's hitting the iceberg. I already know it with Nakobe Dean. That guy's already going to hit I already know he's going to hit the iceberg. And you're going to sail right into it. Strong side linebacker, Nolan Smith. What are your expectations on Nolan Smith? What are you expecting out of him this year? What an exercise in reality we're having here. Better than last year? Sorry. Five to 8 sacks. 6 sacks, says Mike. 7 sacks. Nine sacks. Here's my expectations for Nolan Smith. 60+ tackles and 8.5 sacks plus. Other than that, you're a dude. You're a Derek Barnett. You better have 60+ tackles and 8+ sacks. He's the 31st pick in the draft. He's going into his second year. I mean, do I think he gets these? Never near it. Remember, these are expectations. Will these guys live up to this? Maybe that's the better question. Do I think Milton Williams will live up to 50+ tackles and 8 sacks? Yes. Do I think Jordan Davis will live up to 39+ tackles and 3 sacks in a new system playing nose? Got to remember something. Playing in a forefront a year ago, now going to a nose guard, is a completely different style of play. So the numbers are going to be lesser. So if he gives you 39+ tackles and 3 sacks, in my opinion, and more than a first and second down 30 front, that's going to be good. I think he could probably hit these. Do I think Jalen Carter is 60+ tackles and 9 sacks? I do. Do I think Bryce Huff or Josh Sweat is 50+ tackles and 7+ sacks? I do. Do I think Bryce Huff is 30+ tackles and 11 sacks? I do not. Do I think Nakobe Dean has 90+ tackles and 2 sacks? I do not. Do I think Devin White has 100+ tackles and 4 sacks? I do not. Do I think Nolan Smith has 60+ tackles and 8+ sacks this year? I do not. Quinyon Mitchell, left cornerback. What are your expectations for him this year? Here's mine. 48+ tackles and 3 picks. If he's around that number, he'll be all rookie. Do I think he hits those? No, but I think he'll be around it. I think he'll be around it. Gardner Johnson, 78+ tackles and 3 picks. Does he hit it? Yes or no? I do not believe he hits that. If healthy, Mike, I think CJ has a chance to be around that. Again, 66. I'll live with that with 3 picks. Okay? I will. If he's 66 and 3, all right, we're there. We're kind of there. Do I think he goes over that 78+ and over 3? I do not. Reed Blankenship, free safety. I got 80+ tackles and 2 picks. Do I think he hits that number? I do. One thing that Reed does, he may not be the best player back there, but he makes some plays. He makes some plays back there. And you know what? He's probably going to be the most knowledgeable safety back there. Remember, Gardner Johnson's not really one of those guys. He's a converted corner. He's not really a good guy and fits when it comes to run defense. Reed needs to come off the bench. Well, depends. If the other guys are picking up the defense and understand communication. Dude, Reed Blankenship is going to play. You know why? He knows what he's doing. Right cornerback, Slay. I got Slay at 55 tackles and 3 picks. Do I think he can hit this? I do. I think he'll be right around there. 50 tackles, 2 or 3 picks. That's still not $12 million, but Slay wasn't your problem last year in defense. Okay. Pass rushing and the other safeties and corner were your issue. Not that he was sensational. Keely Ringo. What are your expectations on Keely Ringo? I got 50+ tackles and 2 picks. Do I think he can do this? I do. I do think that. Cooper DeJean. What are your expectations on him? What's his role on that? I still think they still have to shuffle the deck on that. Cooper DeJean, what do you think? Rookie of the year? What are your expectations? I suspect he won't start until at least mid-season. If he starts anywhere, it'll be a nickel. Ringo's inexperienced and will favor target. This is what I got for Cooper DeJean. I got 50-plus tackles with him and 2 picks also. That would be a great year for him. And I agree. I don't know where they're going to put him yet. I have no idea where they're going to put him. See, I don't think they've really shoveled the deck back there in the secondary yet and tried to figure out what to do with the guy. Twist, he may be the slot guy. A rookie with 6 picks? Okay. You should put money down on that, Forte. A rookie with 6 picks. Solid year, won't be rookie of the year. Depends if that pick number's high for him. I like the kid. I think the kid has a chance to be a good football player because you can move him in multiple places. Start the young guys. Well, flexing. That'd be great if you're saying start the young guys when you still have Bradbury on the team. Here's an interesting one. Isaiah Rodgers. What are your expectations for him? And I like the player. I like the player. You can't trade Bradbury. You guys are not getting that Bradbury trading. Who's going to pick up $12 million for a guy who was graded one of the worst corners in the league last year? Okay? By the way, once again, these are my expectations. These are not my predictions. There's a difference here. Use your ears. These are not my predictions. These are my expectations. For Isaiah Rodgers, I got 60-plus tackles and 3 picks. The 60-plus tackles is going to tell me what the direction the front office is going to do and go with him. He's on a 1-year deal too. If that guy goes out there and he has a 60-plus tackle season and he has 5 or 6 picks, you're looking at a $20 million guy. The problem that you have here with some of these players, if they do live up to expectations, again, these are not predictions. These are expectations. Milton Williams does what I say, 20-plus, 50-plus tackles and 8 sacks. He's a $15 to $20 million a year guy. You got to worry about that because you got to sign him to a 3-year contract extension. Jordan Davis is going to determine whether or not the Eagles are going to address a contract extension for him soon based off of what he does this year. As of right now, Jordan Davis does not deserve a contract extension. They'll give him one. You know why? He's a 13th pick. That's not a reason to give a guy an extension. Landon Dickerson deserved an extension. Okay? He deserved one. Jordan Davis does not. Devin White doesn't get 100 tackles. Why would you resign him? Gardner Johnson, you better hope he lives up to $8 million. What are you expecting the football team to be versus the run? NFL ranking wise. What are you expecting versus the run? Top 10? Top 20? Top 15? Jeff says 15. I'm with you, Jeff. Top 5? Top 15? Top 5? Absolutely not with that linebacking core. Absolutely not. Not anywhere near it. You don't have 34 linebackers. And if they're going to play a forefront, I don't really think you really have a lot of depth up front. I don't. But we'll see. But like I said, if you're 15th against the run in there, that's not horrible. You can win. You went to a Super Bowl 16th. And here's the other one. Pass defense. Top 5. 10. 15. You were 31st last year, by the way. Top 20. What are you looking at? Top 15. $13, $12 versus pass. Hopefully low teens. Depends how the rookies look. I expect them to at least look average around 12. I think Vic wants to put the best guy in a position. Will he override Howie's guys? I think you're going to have a conflict there. You all sound ignorant. JD is vital as a run stopper. He was pathetic last year. Jalen, if the Eagles pay Bradbury $12 million, could they package trade him and Ricks or a similar quality young DB? Dude, why would I trade for Bradbury when you're going to cut him? And then you can bid for him. I think the Eagles, by the way, if they get 15th in pass defense and 15th in run defense, in my opinion, that's a massive upgrade from a year ago. When you look at the collective group, you have a balanced defense. And with that offense that you're spending $200 million on, they better move the sticks. If the Philadelphia Eagles finish 15th in defense, in pass defense and rush defense, and your offense can't carry the mail, it's time to fire your quarterback. It's time to fire that guy. Because there's no excuses. The defense, and Vic would have done his job. He would have improved the unit and put him in the middle. Dude, you can win with a middle-of-the-road defense. Okay? You can win with that. If the defense can consistently get off the field, offense must sustain drives otherwise. And also, Sam, one of the most important things is what? Not put your defense in a shitty field position situation where you got 3 and outs and you're punting and the other football team drives the ball down the field on you. Absolutely. You've got to play smart ball this year. That's why I say this. Barkley's got to carry the ball a lot early in the year as the offense starts to pick up more, and you got to tenderize and start to send a trend compared to what you did a year ago. I think you got to run the football, man, as much as you possibly can in the first 4 weeks. The offense will come. It will. And you're paying. Hey, what was that quote? What was that quote? I think that general manager is the fucking stupidest general manager in pro football history. That guy, Joe Shonin, that runs the New York Giants, is a fucking idiot. We're not paying Daniel Jones $40 million to hand off to a $12 million running back. Can I tell you what that quote is? That's to cover his ass for his pathetic handling of the Barkley deal. You fucking moron. Are you crazy? You took away a safety net for Daniel Jones to be able to have play action pass. He does more than that. That guy helps you in play action and in pass protection, you fucking idiot. What an absolute train wreck of a guy. That thing's now on, what is it, Hard Knocks? He is a buffoon. He is a buffoon. Eskin pretends to be holy, but he's not. Hot water. He's in hot water now. He's banned for 1 year from the Phillies park. I saw that, Sean. Yeah, but Odyssey doesn't do anything about it. That guy, that general manager in New York, when I watch him on Netflix, Hard Knocks, he is a fool. He's a fool. You said Jordan was pathetic last season. That was their ranking before the collapse. Hey, dude, 17 football games. Your team decided what direction it was going to go in. It's a team effort. This is not tennis or golf, Prince. You're in it together. You don't get credit for half seasons. And you're evaluated on 17 weeks, Prince, not 6. Your organization decided to change. That's my bitch with the Eagles. Why? Well, guess what? We have no control of that. You ended up running that kid into the ground. That's a you thing, not me. That has nothing to do with reality. If you don't know how to coach the kids and you don't know how to coach the players, that's an Eagle thing. Well, they were good early, and then that's on you. That's on you. How do you know, Sills? I watched it. Did you not watch the same shit I did? Or wait, you've got to be some of these people that are trying to convince you what you saw last Thursday didn't really happen. Is that what that is too, Prince? Hey, Sills, what you saw last year in that 1-7 meltdown really didn't happen. Is that what he said? The guy, Joe Shonin, here, he had other comments. This guy tried to make an excuse for allowing Saquon Barkley to walk out the building for no compensation whatsoever and sit there and say, well, we're paying Daniel Jones $40 million not to hand the ball off. Bro, you're paying Daniel Jones to try to be able to win you games, and you're trying to put as many good players around him as possible. Either you think the quarterback's good or he's not. And you know what this comes down to? This comes down to them justifying that they fucked up paying him $40 million a year. Well, he couldn't do it. Then why'd you get rid of Barkley? Senor's right. Then you go out and you get that broken down jalopy Waller from the Raiders. You think you're adding a piece to that. You pay him $17 million. He's a piece of nothing. And you let Barkley walk out the building, and now you're trying to justify your bullshit. I mean, honest to God, man, the New York Giants are the most pathetic organization on the planet right now, and how they're – this guy, Joe Schoen, he makes Dave Gettleman look like Howie Roseman. Dave Gettleman sucked. I mean, Joe Schoen just shows you how not to run a fucking football team. He's the most pathetic general manager on the planet. He allows, like I said, Barkley to roll out the building, and he's trying to justify it on Hard Knocks by going, well, we paid Jones $40 million not to hand the ball off. Guy, how about trying to do this? Can you find a O-lineman? One O-lineman. One. In the last 10 years. You ended up getting a left tackle. It's taken you a decade to find that guy. And then you cut Barkley. Oh, that makes sense. I'll tell you what, the worst run organization in pro football, it's not the Patriots. Because you know what I'll take? I'll take 5 years of crappy-ass football and 6 Super Bowls any day. Any day. We're hoping to get Philly 500 today. If not, me and Mark are going to do an exercise today. Let me get this out here. Let's bring Mark Holmes in. The man, the myth, the legend.
Oh,
Covers the Dallas Cowboys. Hey, dude, you know what? This is something I think we can all agree on. You covered the Cowboys. I covered the Eagles.